Hey everyone, and welcome back.
Yeah.
Today we're diving into something I think we've all thought about at one point or another,
Hmm.
how to build wealth.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're not promising some get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
We're taking a deep dive into a single source this time,
Okay.
a podcast episode called Building Wealth Through Financial Literacy and Strategic Growth.
Interesting.
And they have this really cool argument that it's less about like being a financial genius or something,
Right.
and way more about understanding what they call the rules of the money game.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's so true. It is really easy to get overwhelmed by like the world of finance.
Yeah.
Feeling like you need some sort of secret insider knowledge to really get it.
Yeah,
But when it comes down to it, a lot of it is just basic principles and consistent action.
exactly. They even use this great analogy of a board game.
Oh,
It's like you wouldn't sit down to play Monopoly without knowing the rules.
yeah,
So why would you approach building wealth blindly?
for sure. For sure.
So let's unpack those rules, shall we?
Let's do it.
One of the first things they emphasize is that building wealth isn't about just working harder.
Okay.
It's about making your money work for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
It really like captures the essence of building wealth strategically. Instead of trading your time for money,
Yeah.
you're finding ways to put your money to work so it generates more money for you,
Mhm.
even while you sleep.
Okay, hold on. Before you lose me with the money working while you sleep thing,
Uh-huh.
can you give me a concrete example? Like, how do you actually do that?
Sure. Think about the difference between just saving money in like a low-interest savings account
Okay.
versus investing in something like an index fund.
Gotcha.
So with a savings account, your money might not even keep up with inflation.
Right.
So you're actually losing purchasing power over time.
Oh, wow.
But with index funds, they offer a way to potentially outpace inflation,
Okay.
which means your money is actually growing.
Yeah.
They're also pretty beginner-friendly, too.
So basically putting my money in an index fund is like hiring a bunch of tiny little financial workers who go out and earn more money for me even when I'm not actively working.
Yeah. I like that way of putting it. That's the power of investing. But of course, before you even think about investing,
Yeah.
you need to have a solid foundation,
Right.
which brings us to saving.
Right. And the episode makes it really clear that saving isn't about being like a miser or depriving yourself.
Right.
It's about building security and flexibility, which can actually open up more opportunities for you.
Think of it this way. Having a good amount of savings lets you take calculated risks and pursue things that you might normally shy away from.
Like what? Give me an example.
Let's say you always wanted to start your own business.
Okay.
Having savings gives you that safety net, so you can take the leap knowing you have something to fall back on if things don't work out.
That makes sense.
Or maybe there's like a professional development course that would boost your earning potential. But it's expensive. Savings can make that investment in yourself possible.
Okay, that makes total sense. It's like that saying, you need money to make money.
Right.
But it's not just about starting a business or taking a course. The episode also talks about investing in yourself more broadly.
Absolutely. They really stress that investing in your knowledge, your skills, and your experiences is one of the most valuable things you can do.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be like formal education either.
Yeah.
Like reading books, attending workshops, or even taking on side projects.
Yeah.
Things that challenge you and help you grow.
So it's like constantly leveling up your character in this like money game of life.
Exactly. The more skills and knowledge you gain, the more opportunities you'll have available to you.
And the more you invest in yourself, the more valuable you become. Like a compound interest, but for your skill set.
Exactly.
Now, this is where it starts to get interesting to me. They talk about the importance of taking calculated risks. And I'll admit, I'm a little risk averse. So when I hear that, I picture like throw all my savings on a roulette wheel or something.
Uh-huh. I get that.
Ah.
But that's not at all what they mean by calculated risks. It's more about understanding that every financial decision comes with some level of risk.
Okay.
Even keeping your money in a savings account has risks like inflation eating away at its value.
Oh, right.
Calculated risks are about weighing the potential downsides against the potential rewards
Gotcha.
and making smart decisions based on your goals.
So it's more about being strategic and doing your research before you jump into something.
Exactly.
Not just chasing some quick payout.
Right. They even give examples like investing in stocks or real estate.
Okay.
These are riskier than keeping your money in savings,
Yeah.
but they also have the potential for much higher returns.
But they emphasize that you shouldn't just dive into those things without knowing how they work, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about doing your research, understanding the market,
Mm-hmm.
and making informed decisions based on your own financial situation.
Yeah.
And risk tolerance. It's
Wow.
not gambling.
Yeah.
It's informed decision-making.
Okay. I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. You need a solid foundation of savings.
Yeah.
You got to invest in yourself and your skills.
Mm.
And then you can start taking calculated risks to grow your wealth. It's like building a house, you know?
Yeah.
You need a strong foundation before you start adding floors.
That's a great analogy. And just like building a house takes time and effort, so does building wealth.
Yeah.
You know, there's no elevator to the top. You have to take the stairs.
Speaking of taking the stairs, there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
They say it's crucial to focus on creating value and not just chasing wealth.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
They argue that when you focus on solving problems and providing excellent service or creating products that make people's lives better, financial rewards usually follow.
So it's not about being greedy or obsessed with money.
Right.
It's about using your skills and talents to have a positive impact.
Mm.
And in doing so, creating value that people are willing to pay for.
Exactly. Think about all the successful entrepreneurs and innovators out there. They didn't just stumble into wealth. They created something valuable that either met a need or solved a problem.
Okay, so we've talked about saving, investing in yourself, taking calculated risks, and creating value.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to take in, but I'm starting to see how these principles can all work together to build wealth.
And remember, you don't have to master everything overnight.
Right.
It's about taking it one step at a time, learning as you go, and building that solid foundation for long-term financial success.
Yeah.
Just keep building.
Keep building. That's
Yeah.
great advice.
Yeah. Welcome back to our deep dive on building wealth.
You know.
Before we jumped into all the details about saving and investing and stuff,
Yeah.
we were talking about how taking on those bigger problems can lead to bigger financial rewards.
Right. And it's not even just about the size of the problem. I think it ties back to that idea from the podcast, that wealth is often a byproduct of the value you create.
Exactly. And if you think about all those innovators and entrepreneurs who've made a ton of money,
Yeah.
they didn't just find problems, they came up with solutions that really impacted people's lives.
Yeah, like someone realized we were all struggling to hail cabs, and bam, ride-sharing apps were born.
Exactly.
Or like how frustrating it was to search for information online before Google.
Right.
And by solving those problems and providing that value, they created a demand, and the money followed. That's pretty inspiring.
It is. It's really cool to think that by focusing on making a difference, you can also achieve financial well-being.
Totally. It's not about being greedy or anything. It's about
Yeah.
using your skills to make the world better and create value that people are willing to pay for. Which brings us back to that idea of wealth building as a game
Right.
that anyone can learn to play.
Exactly. It's not about luck or privilege or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's about knowing the rules and making smart choices consistently.
Okay, so speaking of those rules, let's recap some of the key things we've talked about.
Okay.
Like, what are the must-knows?
Well, first off, building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
It takes patience, consistency, a long-term view. You're not going to get rich overnight.
Yeah.
But with consistent effort and good decisions, you can build a strong financial future.
So, ditch the lottery tickets.
Ah,
Focus on the long game. Got it.
what else?
Another crucial principle is the power of compounding.
Okay.
Whether it's compound interest or just the effect of getting better at something over time.
Yeah.
Time is your biggest advantage when it comes to building wealth. The earlier you start and the more consistent you are, the more time you have for your gains to multiply.
Okay, compound interest is still kind of confusing to me,
Ah.
but I'm getting there. What about risks? The
Ah.
podcast mentioned those, right?
Yes. And it's all about finding that sweet spot between risk and reward. Of course you need a solid foundation,
Yeah.
but playing it too safe can hold you back. Remember those calculated risks we talked about?
Yeah, not the roulette wheel kind. Exactly. It's about being informed, weighing the possible downsides against the chance for bigger wins. Think back to those examples like investing in stocks or real estate.
Okay.
They're riskier than keeping your money in a savings account,
Right.
but they also have the potential to grow much faster than inflation.
So it's not about avoiding risk completely. It's about understanding it and using it strategically.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Another key principle is investing in yourself.
Okay.
And that doesn't just mean formal education. It means constantly learning new skills that make you more valuable.
So like taking a coding boot camp or learning a new language.
Exactly. Investing in yourself is one of the best things you can do. It not only increases what you can earn, but it opens doors and makes you more well-rounded.
Makes sense. The more you know, the more you grow personally and financially.
Right.
Speaking of growth, the podcast also mentioned that we should focus on creating value, not just chasing wealth.
That's a super important point. When you focus on solving problems, providing great service, or creating products that improve lives, financial success usually follows naturally.
So find a problem, solve it, and the money will come. It's like a karmic equation.
Uh-huh. In a way, yes.
Yeah.
And it's way more fulfilling than just running after money.
Okay, so we've talked about saving, investing, calculated risks, self-improvement, creating value.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot, but it feels like a playbook for building wealth.
It is. And one last thing that really stuck with me is the idea that action beats mindset.
Okay.
It's great to be positive, but your actions are what make the difference. You can dream about financial freedom all day long,
Yeah.
but until you start taking steps, nothing will change.
It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Exactly. So what's one small step our listeners can take today to get started?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It could be as simple as opening a savings account, making a budget, or researching investments.
Or maybe dusting off that business plan they've been thinking about.
What?
Or signing up for that online course. The point is, don't just think about it, do something.
Exactly. Take action, learn as you go, and remember every step, even a small one, gets you closer to your goals.
Okay, so we've got the principles and the importance of taking action. Now it's time to get practical. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll look at some real strategies and tools to help you put these principles into practice. Okay, so we've covered so much in this deep dive, from the big principles to the importance of taking action.
Yeah.
Now let's actually get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
What are some tangible things our listeners can use to put all this into practice?
Well, one of the first things I always recommend is making a budget.
Okay.
It might sound basic,
Yeah.
but it's honestly so important for knowing where your money's going
Right.
and finding places where you can save.
Mm-hmm.
There are tons of apps out there that can make it really easy.
Yeah.
Or you can just use a spreadsheet or even just a notebook.
Okay, so track our income and expenses. Got it. But what about actually making more money? The podcast talked about side hustles, right?
Absolutely. Side hustles are a great way to boost your income and maybe explore new interests too. Think about what you're good at or what you enjoy
Yeah.
and see if you can find a way to make money from it.
Okay.
Maybe you're a great writer and could do some freelancing.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're awesome at photography. You could do portraits. There's so many possibilities.
That's true. I have a friend who's a fantastic baker, and she started selling custom cakes on the side.
Perfect.
It's not only bringing in extra cash, but she's having a blast doing it.
Exactly.
Mm.
And that's key. Don't just think about the money. Think about what you enjoy and what you're good at.
Yeah.
That'll make it way more sustainable and rewarding.
Okay, so we've got budgeting and side hustles down.
Yeah.
What about investing? I know that can be overwhelming. So where do we even start?
Well, remember those index funds we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Those are great for people who are new to investing.
Okay.
They offer diversification, meaning you're spreading your risk, and they're generally pretty low cost. You can invest in index funds through a brokerage account. And there are even robo-advisors now that can help you out.
Robo-advisors. That sounds a little scary. Are they like robots who tell me what to do with my money?
Haha, kind of.
Yeah.
But in a good way. They use algorithms to build and manage an investment portfolio for you based on how much risk you're comfortable with and what your goals are.
Oh, okay.
It takes out the guesswork, which is helpful if you're just starting out.
So it's like having a personal financial advisor, but without the big fees. That's awesome. But what if I want to be more hands-on with my investments?
You can definitely manage your own portfolio.
Okay.
There's so many resources out there that can teach you about different investment strategies.
Yeah.
You can read books, take online courses, or even join investment communities online and learn from others.
That's cool.
The important thing is to learn as much as you can before making decisions.
Right, so don't just follow some random stock tip I saw on social media.
Exactly. Do your research, understand the risks, and make choices based on your own situation.
And speaking of social media, it's important to be careful about the financial advice you see out there.
Oh, for sure.
There's so much misinformation.
Yeah.
Stick to trustworthy sources and be wary of those get-rich-quick schemes.
So true. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, especially when you see people showing off their wealth online.
Yeah, it's like a highlight reel.
Right. Don't compare yourself to someone else's highlight reel.
Yeah.
Focus on your own goals and celebrate your progress.
This has been such a great deep dive. We covered budgeting, side hustles, investing, even self-improvement, and creating value.
It's a lot.
It really is. But I feel so much more prepared now. I have a better plan for my financial future.
Me too. And I think the most important thing we learned is that building wealth isn't some big mystery.
Right.
It's something anyone can do as long as they have the right knowledge, tools,
Hmm.
and attitude.
And remember, it's not just about getting rich. It's about creating a life of freedom where you can pursue your passions, help others, and make a positive impact.
If wealth is a byproduct of the value you create, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Wow, that's a really great question to think about. It's not just about the money, it's about the mark we make on the world. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We hope you learned a lot today and feel inspired to take control of your financial future.
Please, I would like you to do me a favor. Kindly like this video to encourage me to make more videos like this.